All right, update for today, March the 19th. So, this morning, I did work in the classroom. I actually taught a half day. The teacher had some kind of appointment, or goodness knows, the second half of the school day. So, I took over the classroom there. This was in a fifth grade. As has been kind of the last several jobs that I've told you about, have been in fifth grade classrooms, but this was a different fifth grade than before, in a different school than the one that I talked about in the last several teaching related updates. Um, when I do, when I start talking about working in the schools, I'm going to be referring to the same handful of buildings um, repeatedly. And so far, again, all the ones that I've talked about in these videos have been one particular building. Today, I'm going to introduce a second one, um, and um, and we'll talk a little bit more about others as I appear at those. So this particular building that I was at today was a not the one near my house, but um, in actually the next district over. Now I'm going to reference three different elementary schools in my quite often in my school updates. And they're in three different districts, believe it or not. And that's actually kind of by design, to keep it kind of interesting, among other things. As it is, for me, professionally interesting to watch how different districts go about achieving the same thing. And honestly, I think that's going to be a source of some content here on this channel later at some point, because there are actually some really interesting things to talk about in this regard. Um, and so this district that I was in today is, well, um, around, and my phone's actually showing a auto call from the substitute teaching system as we speak. Tomorrow being Friday, there tend to be a lot of substitute openings in the system on Fridays. Um, I don't know why that is, but that's Fridays and Mondays seem to be the biggest, and then follow for last minute jobs. Tuesdays and Thursdays for you know about them in advance jobs, and Wednesdays, at least in our area, are very quiet in Subworld. But anywho, what was I talking about? Oh yes. So the district that I was in today was a that what you would call high SES or high socioeconomic status, and that's one of those things that, believe it or not, does play an impact in terms of just what is happening inside the school, and there's a lot of different ways that this affects how things operate within buildings and within districts. As a matter of fact, there's also a relatively high SES district, and those things do play a role. Getting into details start sounding like politically controversial and all that, which I don't intend to do. But anyway, this is one of those type of situations, and so and the way that they do fifth grade in this particular building is, and I believe this is a district wide thing in this district, is it's essentially like middle school prep, where they actually see three different teachers over the course of a day, in 4 periods, and so they and every hour they kind of rotate, just like they would with if it was like a middle school. And so this afternoon I was the math teacher. And so that meant I saw three different groups, and they came through and we taught the math lesson. And the honestly, I and as a somebody who spends quite a bit of time right around this grade band, I personally really like the fifth grade as like middle school prep setup for several different reasons. Among them, of course, you can reach out to the other teachers who they know. And you can be like, hey guys, so if we're messing around, all your other teachers are going to be hearing about this. Which, honestly, at this building, you don't get a lot of behavior issues anyway. So not a huge thing. But anyway, but also getting kids set up to the idea of the fact that they're going to be going to different classes where they have different teachers with different expectations and different procedures within the course of a school day, while having still enough of the elementary school touches like the recess and kind of being escorted to lunch and those type of things, makes it feel like a nice transition. I've mentioned that I, in past years, have done, a majority of subbing at the middle school level, so I kind of see what goes on up there. And so I do like this system where kids are kind of introduced to that feeling prior to getting up there. And so, like I said, I was in math class today, and it was actually a really cool project too. Essentially, they were given graph paper and had to make robots out of graph paper. And then after doing that, had to calculate the volume of the robot as a whole. Really kind of neat STEM project. And sure is loud and interactive and super chatty, but really kind of a neat project. So got to do that 3 times today. And let's see. After school, went to Panda Express. If I mention enough junk food places, maybe you'll shame me into not going to them as much. Sure, right. And part of the reason I went to Panda Express is they were advertising some like super spicy chicken limited time only thing. Like, all right, so I ordered some of the super special chicken limited time only thing, and you actually get an additional packet of little spicy sauce, which tastes pretty good. And it actually looks kind of like this if you get it on your pants. Because, of course. And yes, that was one of the pairs that I used for teaching too. Because of course it would be. But anyway, went to the gym, like I quite often do, and pretty good workout this afternoon. And then, of course, I've mentioned on a couple of occasions doing trash. Thursday night is trash night in my neighborhood, and that being said, today was the first day of doing trash slightly differently. As I've mentioned, for years, mom and dad had friends here in and around the Portland area where I live, and when they would come to visit their friends, they would come and hang out at my place for a couple of days. And I thought that was cool, and so had a lot of things set up where kind of set up for them to come visit. Even with dad having the stroke and not being able to do much, and just kind of always maintained it with kind of the hope that they'd be able to do that again. But alas, with the events of a couple of weeks ago, we know that that's pretty much over. So having to start downsizing a lot, as I know I'm going to be probably having to cohabitate, cost of living being what it is here within the next couple of years in some respect. And whoever I'm with is probably going to want to have some of her own stuff. So yeah. Anyway, so I'm starting the thing now where every week going to be throwing away, basically that garbage can is going to be full. Just, to start getting rid of stuff. And this time it was a outside, like almost floor thing on the patio, which this carpet meant to look like grass, but it's starting to get mossy and gross, so into the trash it goes. Anyway, that's kind of that. Thanks for joining me all the way to the end. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll talk to you in the next one. Ciao for now.